Right now, you are missing most of reality. Not in a philosophical sense. Literally, physically, right now. The light hitting your eyes is a tiny sliver of what actually exists. You can see wavelengths between about 380 and 700 nanometers. That sounds like a lot until you learn that the full electromagnetic spectrum spans wavelengths from 1 picometer to over 100,000 kilometers. You are seeing a crack in a door that goes on forever. And somewhere near your garden right now, a dragonfly is seeing through that door. Most people think the dragonfly story is simple. Big eyes, good vision, end of story. But that is not even close to what is actually happening inside a dragonfly's head. You have 3 types of color receptors in your eyes. 3. A dragonfly has 30. Your 3 receptors produced every color you have ever seen in your entire life. Every sunset, every painting, every face you have ever loved. 3 receptors. A dragonfly has 10 times that. And here is where the story gets genuinely strange. In 2015, neuroscientist Hannah Thoen at the University of Queensland published research on mantis shrimp that reframed how scientists think about color vision entirely. Mantis shrimp have 16 photoreceptor types. Scientists assumed that meant they saw 16 times more colors than you. But Thoen's behavioral tests showed the shrimp were actually worse at distinguishing similar colors than humans. Not better. Worse. They were not combining receptor signals the way we do. They were using them as parallel, independent channels. You mix colors like a painter, blending signals together to create something new. A mantis shrimp runs 16 separate scanners simultaneously and reads each one on its own. It is not seeing more shades. It is seeing in a completely different architecture of perception. Dragonflies may be doing something similar, and researchers still do not fully understand it. We cannot model what dragonfly vision feels like from the inside. We genuinely do not have the framework, but the color channels are only the beginning. A dragonfly's 2 compound eyes cover almost 360 degrees of its visual field. Each eye is made of up to 30,000 individual units called ommatidia, each essentially its own tiny lens pointing in a slightly different direction. The dragonfly is not seeing one image. It is seeing thousands simultaneously stitched into a sphere. You have a field of view of about 180 degrees, and only a narrow tunnel in the center is truly sharp. Everything outside that tunnel is blurry. You just do not notice because your brain fills it in. The dragonfly does not need to fill anything in. The top section of a dragonfly's eye, what researchers call the dorsal acute zone, has a higher density of ommatidia and points directly at the sky. It can pick out a mosquito from 10 meters away while moving at full speed. In 2012, neuroscientist Paloma Gonzalez Bellido at the Marine Biological Laboratory in Woods Hole identified a neural circuit in dragonflies called the small target motion detector. These neurons fire specifically when a tiny object moves against a complex background. Your visual cortex has nothing like this. You have to consciously focus to track a small moving thing. The dragonfly has a hardwired circuit that does it automatically before any conscious processing happens at all. The signal goes from eye to wings, bypassing the brain almost entirely. Reaction, not decision. The result is a hunting success rate of roughly 95%. Lions succeed on about 25% of hunts. Great white sharks, around 50%. The dragonfly, the insect you probably walked past this morning, is the most successful predator on Earth by that measure. Dragonflies also see ultraviolet light and polarized light, meaning waves that oscillate in a single plane rather than scattering in all directions. To a dragonfly, the surface of a pond does not just look wet, it lights up. In 2014, researcher Gabor Horváth at Eötvös Loránd University in Budapest showed that dragonflies are so sensitive to polarized light they will attempt to land on black car hoods. Black cars reflect horizontally polarized light, exactly the same as water. To a dragonfly, your parked car looks like a lake. You have walked past cars and ponds your entire life, and none of them looked anything like they look to this insect. The same physical objects, an entirely different world. There is a concept in biology called the Umwelt. German biologist Jakob von Uexküll coined the term in 1909 to describe the idea that every animal lives inside its own unique sensory universe. Not a different opinion of the same world. A literally different world built from different sensory inputs. A tick's Umwelt is almost entirely body heat and the smell of butyric acid from mammal skin. A dog's Umwelt is dominated by smell in a way your brain cannot simulate. Its nose has 300 million olfactory receptors. Yours has about 6 million. And a dragonfly's Umwelt is a place of ultraviolet light, polarized water signals, and a sky that is a constant high-resolution threat map, updated 30 times per second. Yours refreshes at around 10 to 12 times per second, which means a dragonfly watching a movie would see a slideshow of still images. The smoothness you see in motion is a construction. Your brain is interpolating between frames, guessing. The dragonfly does not guess. It sees each moment as it actually is. The dragonfly lineage is 300 million years old. Modern humans have existed for roughly 300,000 years. Dragonflies survived the Permian extinction, the event that killed 96% of all marine species and the asteroid that ended the dinosaurs. And through all of it, the visual system that let them do this remained almost completely unchanged. Evolution kept finding nothing to improve. In 2021, paleontologist Günter Betschli at the Hoover Institution documented fossilized dragonfly eye structures from 150 million years ago that matched modern species almost exactly. What you are looking at when you see a dragonfly is not a primitive creature. It is a finished one. Your visual system, by contrast, is a compromise. You are a generalist. You needed hands and language and social cognition, and your brain traded visual acuity to pay for it. You gave up 30 photoreceptors for the ability to plan tomorrow. You gave up the dorsal acute zone for grammar. The dragonfly has no concept of tomorrow. Its entire world is now, this moment, this target, this light. And it sees that moment with a precision you will never experience and cannot fully picture. David Chalmers named the hard problem of consciousness in 1995. You cannot get from physical brain processes to the actual felt quality of experience. You can describe every neuron firing in perfect detail and still never explain what it is like to see red. You can map every one of the dragonfly's 30 receptors, trace its neural circuits, calculate its attack angle to 3 decimal places, and you still cannot know what it is like to be inside that vision. You cannot imagine a color you have never seen. That is not a limit of effort. It is a limit of architecture. There is no room in your brain for what a dragonfly sees. Whatever qualia a dragonfly has built from 30 color channels and polarized sky maps and a visual refresh rate 3 times faster than yours, you will never access it. Not with technology. Not with language. Not with any bridge we have yet built between minds. That world exists, right now, inches from your face. And it is permanently, structurally, off limits to you. Which brings you back to where we started. Right now, you are missing most of reality. You always have been. Not because you are not paying attention, not because you need better glasses, because the world is wider than any single nervous system can hold, and every creature on this planet, including you, is living inside a small room with the walls painted to look like everything. The dragonfly has its room. You have yours. What changes when you know this is not the view? The walls are still the walls. What changes is the humility. The next time you see a dragonfly hovering near still water, understand that it is not looking at the same pond you are looking at. It is standing inside a version of that moment you cannot enter. And so are you. Every mind that has ever existed has been alone inside its own Umwelt, touching the same world, and feeling something different. The dragonfly does not know you are there. You are the invisible thing in its version of reality, and the most human thing you can do with that fact is wonder what else you are missing.